Hey guys, so in today's video I picked up these two Mercury 25 horsepower short shaft engines. They are both early 2000 motors. I think this one's a 2005 and this one's a 2003. And I actually have a third 25 horsepower that's in the garage that's a 2005. Now this motor and the motor I have in the garage both have low compression. This one's actually completely locked up, but they have good parts on it if this motor needs it. What we're going to do first is a spark and compression test on this motor, because this is the main one we're going to be focusing on and trying to get into run today. And I'm sorry guys if the wind's loud or if you can't hear me. It is pretty cold out here and pretty windy today. It's about 40 degrees with probably 10 to 15 mile per hour winds right now, so it is kind of hard for me to film, but I'm doing the best I can for you guys. So without that being said, let's do a little walkthrough of this Mercury 25, and then after that we'll do a spark and compression test and verify that it's a healthy engine. If you guys have been enjoying the videos, please smash the like button down below, and of course subscribe so you don't miss any further content in the future. Without that being said, let's jump right into this rebuild of this Mercury 25. So when I was hooking up the spark tester, found out the booty or the plug wire was disconnected from the coil. With these you can just push these back into the coil, but this thing wouldn't have sparked. So could have been an issue the guy had before and didn't realize it, but what you gotta do is push this back into the coil and you should be all good. Okay, so now that the spark tester is all hooked up, what I'm gonna do is kill off the lights so you guys can see the spark a little bit better, but all you want to see is a good solid spark between the two prongs on the spark tester to verify if you have good spark or not. So I'm gonna kill the lights and we'll see if we have good spark. And as you guys can see, we had a good solid spark, and we also had 110 psi in each cylinder, which is pretty good for these engines. A little low, but it should run. And we had a good spark. So now we verified that we have a good healthy power head. What we're going to do now is pop off the carb, go through the fuel system, check that out and make sure it's all clean, and then we'll go through the rest of the general maintenance. So let's pop off the carburetor and let's check out what's looking like inside. Just a couple things to keep in mind when taking off this carburetor. So if you have watched my past videos, these are pretty much identical to the 9.9 and 15s. Different carbs, but I mean they are pretty much set up the exact same way. Just kind of follow me as I'm taking it apart, and it's pretty much the same as all the other motors that I've done so far. Something I have noticed with this motor though is, so on these, you turn this in, it advances the timing, well at least it's supposed to, and then obviously when you pull this, the plunger pushes down and hits the plunger, and then shoots raw gas into the carburetor. What this one is missing is the spring is missing. There's usually a spring right here that connects to the base of the carburetor. Now if you notice in my past videos, these plastic pieces normally have a cupped like a cutout circle in the plastic that cups underneath the carburetor. As you guys can see on this one, whoever owned this carb before had the carb, or whoever owned this boat before had the carb off and probably broke it. So it's definitely broken, so there's no way for the spring to go. So when you try to go back, this won't go back. This should go back farther. So this will never run correctly if you don't address this. Luckily, I do have a replacement piece for this. I'll show you guys what they both look like and what it's supposed to look like, but just something to keep in mind. Other than that, it's exactly the same as my other videos. You're going to have to pop this off, disconnect the fuel line, pop the two bolts on each side, take off the air box, these 2 bolts right here. After that, the carb will be free. Let's pop off this carb. Let's get up on the bench and do a teardown on it. And just like that, guys, the carburetor is off. And kind of take off one side first, angle it, and then you'll be able to pop off the other side of the stud. But this is what the carb looks like. Doesn't look too bad inside, but it definitely is dirty on the outside a little bit. So let's get it up on the bench, do a teardown, and let's see how healthy it is. Something to keep in mind is too that the intake, it's going to use a different gasket than the normal 9.9s and the 15s. So when you go through your kit, just make sure you use the right gasket. I'll show you guys in a second which one is the proper one once we tear it down, but that is the different gasket that you'll have to use. And once you're at this stage, you might as well just peek an eye, look in here with the light, check your reads, make sure nothing's hanging open or rust or anything like that, and then you should be all good. So let's get this up on the bench, break it down, and let's see how clean it is and do a complete carb rebuild on it. And so you guys can see the difference between a broken one and a good one. So this is a broken one that I took off the engine. So as you can see, this is what mounts onto the carburetor. And this is what a good one looks like. So as you can see, there is a hole cut out. This cup's underneath the carburetor. So if you look at the carb, cups right into this. So if you break it, you know, it won't latch onto there correctly. But if that's all on there, this thing floats around and doesn't really work as well. And then you also see that there's a hole here. There is supposed to be a tiny little spring. It hooks onto here, and then it hooks up to here. And what that does is it keeps tension on this at all times. So when you go and screw it back, this actually moves back and decreases, I say decrease, but it decreases the advance of timing essentially. So just so you guys can see what the difference is and what not to do, and just try not to break this piece because it can make the engine not run properly. So now that we got that all carried away, so now we got the carb on the bench, what we're going to do is do a full tear down on this, complete carb rebuild. So let's get right into it and let's see how dirty it is inside. As you guys can see, that little bit of brown there, those are cuts inside the diaphragm. So you can see that cut there. So yeah, this is definitely pretty shot. So it's a good thing we're replacing this. Okay guys, so we got the carburetor fully disassembled, and as you guys can see, as I was showing you, there was a couple spots that were pretty dirty. As you can see right here, you can see there's a lot of dirt and stuff got through the diaphragm, and even on the gaskets, I don't know if you guys can see that, but right there, that's all dirt and debris, just junk, and probably there's some tears in there too. It does feel a little hard. Also, if you look on here, you'll see it. I don't know if you guys can see on the camera again, but it's essentially right there at the bottom line. You can see all the dirt and stuff. So just something to keep in mind, guys, while you're taking apart these carbs. Anything that you see could be a reason why the engine didn't run. So seeing dirt right there, that can definitely be a reason why the engine wouldn't run. So what we're going to do now is throw both the top half and the bowl half into the ultrasonic cleaner. Basically what that's going to do is take away all this dirt and grime, and it'll make these carbs look pretty much brand new. After that, I'll blow it all out, make sure there's nothing inside any of the jets or any of the tiny orifices in the carburetor. And then after that, we'll reassemble it with the complete carb kit. So let's throw in an ultrasonic cleaner. Let's get it all clean, and let's reassemble this carburetor. Just got the carburetor out of the ultrasonic cleaner, and it came out looking really nice. Looks almost brand new, has a really nice shiny color to it. So now what we're going to do is rebuild the carburetor with the complete carburetor kit, and I'll drop it in the details down below of the carburetor kit that I use for you guys, and hopefully that helps you guys out. So let's get right into the carburetor rebuild. The gasket that we're going to be wanting to use today, guys, for the carburetor, for the faceplate, is going to be this one. Normally in my other videos you have seen me use this one. This one is strictly just for the 99s and like the 15s. I think some of the 20s take it, but this current 25 doesn't take it. It takes this gasket. So when you are reassembling it, make sure you use this gasket. Otherwise your engine may run poorly. Okay, so we just got the carburetor back onto the engine. What we want to do now is just make sure everything is moving and functioning correctly. So obviously when you turn in the knob, you should see this rod moving forward a little bit. And then when you pull down, if you look on the other side of the airbox, you should see the plunger pushing down. And then when you twist it back in, you should see this moving back, which before I didn't, but since I fixed that and put the better one, it has the spring, it actually goes back now. So what we're going to do now is clean out the fuel filter, actually attach it up to this, and then what I'm going to do is take off these fuel lines, blow them out, or possibly just replace them, and clean the fuel filter. So let's get that off and get it all cleaned. Okay, so now we're about to do the water pump on this motor. What I did is I tilted the motor up. Now for this specific engine, the only thing you have to take out are the 4 bolts. There's 2 on each side. And just like the 99s and the 15s of these similar years, there's a little latch down there. You can see it. You just got to flip that open and pull that pin out. And then the shift linkage is free. And then just drop these 2 bolts and the lower unit will drop. So I'm going to prop you guys up, drop the lower unit, and do a water pump propeller on it. Got the lower unit off. You can see it's pretty dirty. Looks like it hasn't been taken off in a long time. So what we're gonna do is pop the housing open by taking off these 4 bolts, put a new water pump impeller in there, and then reinstalling it. So let's get it up on the stand, crack open the water pump housing. we completed installing the lower unit, what we're going to do is just make sure it does shifts. Well, right now it is in neutral, so if I spin the prop shaft, it should spin freely. As you can see, it does spin freely. Now if I shift it into forward, it should lock into gear. So I felt it shifted smoothly. Engine is locked in gear. Go back to neutral. Shifts nicely. Goes to neutral. Now at the same time as shifting, you want to keep rotating the prop shaft and shift it into reverse. Felt this shift there, shifts really smoothly, and is now locked in gear. So now that we've taken out the carb, done the water impeller, made sure that it does shift, what we're going to do is some general maintenance. That's going to include like some spark plugs, change out the gear lube. This engine is missing the anode, so it is normally right here. Whoever had this engine before, maybe they thought they had to take this out to do the lower unit. You don't have to take this out to do the lower unit. I do have a spare one, so I'm just going to throw it on here. I do have my used engine over there that has a stainless steel prop, so I'm going to be swapping that out for this prop. And then after that, with the general maintenance, I'm going to stick it in the tank and test run it. So let's get this general maintenance done, and after that we'll be able to test run this motor. Now that the general maintenance is all done, what we're going to do is stick the engine in the tank and do a test run on it and see if it runs or not. So let's get this engine in the tank, fire it up, and let's see what it can do. Okay guys, so I got the engine all primed up and in the tank. I'm just going to fire it up and see what it can do and do some engine tuning if need be. And then after that, we'll detail the motor, and I might possibly just convert this motor into a electric start, because I do have a parts motor, but I'm not 100% sure just yet. Just want to make sure it does run first and pumps correctly. Let's fire up this engine and let's see what it can do. The engine did fire on the first pull. Now it might take a second for it to start pumping just because the thermostat takes a little bit for it to open up. But it doesn't actually sound too bad right now, but I'm just going to let it run and see what happens. So it did stall on me. It did lose a little bit of the primer ball on it. I think the adapter to plug into the engine came a little unplugged, so it wasn't plugged in all the way, so it wasn't going to fuel completely. But now it is pumping completely good. It does take a couple minutes for these to start pumping just because of the thermostat. But it does sound pretty good. I'm just going to let it keep running for a little bit, see if it stalls or anything. If it doesn't stall in the next 15 minutes, what I'm going to do is just pull it out, detail it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to take it to the lake, just because it is pretty cold out and the lake's pretty dang low. But right now the engine is running pretty good, so let's just see what this engine can do in the next couple of minutes. First kill switch does work. The engine fires right back up. Second kill switch does work as well. And the engine fires right back up. So this engine does run really nicely. It does shift into all the gears. I'll shift into forward and reverse for you guys right now. Okay guys, so this engine is a good running engine so far. What I'm going to do is possibly just convert this to a electric start model. So what I would have to do is remove the flywheel, hook up a starter, hook up a rectifier, and then also hook up a start button onto the tiller handle. I'm not 100% sure yet if I'm going to do it just yet, but I'm sure you guys are going to find out in the next couple minutes in the next clip. But yes, this engine does run pretty good, and so far no complaints and no issues. So what I'm going to do now is pull it out of the tank, get it back to the house, do a good detailing on it, and then if I did decide to do an electric start on it, then you guys will see me doing the conversion on it. But other than that, this engine is complete as of now. So I'm not going to convert this engine into an electric start just because I'm going to save the parts and components of the other engine to use it on a different engine that I got. So what I did is I detailed the whole engine. I'll give you guys an overall walkthrough of the detailing really quick then. But I'm also not going to be lake testing because I can't get on the lake. It's in the low 20s here, and I just can't get on the lake now. So this is the best I can do for you guys. If you guys have been liking the videos, please smash the like button down below, as it does help me a lot. And please subscribe so you don't miss any further content in the future. Without that being said, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one.